everyone, it's Sal here. A very warm welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to be doing a comparison video for you, comparing the original La Nuit Trésor and the La Nuit Trésor Allofoli. So both of these fragrances are absolutely stunning. I own and love both of them, but I thought it might be interesting just to go through some of the main differences between the two if you are considering purchasing one of these and you want to know which one is maybe going to be more for you. So I hope you'll find this video very helpful. If you do enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel for weekly fragrance related videos, and let's get started. So first of all, let's just talk about the original La Nuit Trésor. So this fragrance is a really interesting one. It's very dark, rich and complex in my opinion, and it's kind of funny because when I first smelled this, I really was not a fan. So the first time I tried this, I smelled a tester bottle in a shop and I was kind of a bit like, oh my goodness, what is this? Because it's very strong and it's quite unusual, I think. And for some reason I just really didn't like it the first time I tried it. It was one of those situations though where I felt very strongly against it, and then, you know, sometime later I gave it another go and actually I really enjoy it now. So I don't know if my nose changed, or I don't know if maybe the bottle I tried in the shop had gone off, or I'm not quite sure. But anyway, my mind has been changed on this and now I really like it. So this is a very kind of fruity fragrance, but not in a light-hearted way. It's a kind of dark, heavy fruit, almost like a rich kind of boozy fruity liqueur, if you can imagine that. It's very mysterious, almost in the same way that it's fruity. It's also kind of slightly smoky and deep. So this fragrance, not only is it kind of a dark fruity scent, it's also got some incense in here. Yeah, so initially it's kind of a blast of fruit, really. It's very nice, a really great winter scent, I think. So this is a very sweet, dark, rich, fruity fragrance, with kind of your dark, rich notes going on in the base. There's a lot to this as well, and it's very strong. So this fragrance kind of packs a punch. It lasts a very long time. I remember one time I sprayed this in my room and it literally filtrated throughout the whole flat, so it really has some projecting power to it. And I think it's kind of the ultimate fragrance if you were going on a night out and you wanted your scent to stand out amongst other strong perfumes. So like this one would definitely be able to compete with other strong perfumes. It would possibly even be the most noticeable one because, oh, it's so cold in this room today. I've just got some hot water. I would actually say that this one is best suited to colder weather, I think, because it is so strong. If you were to wear it on a really kind of warm day, it would maybe even project even more, and then it would just be like utterly overwhelming, really. But in colder weather, I think it just kind of cuts through the coldness very nicely. It's really strong, just such a nice winter fragrance. Like, it's just so rich. Moving on now to the Allofoli. So this fragrance is a kind of sweet, balsamic, fruity with your red berries. It is lightly spiced and overall it reminds me of mulled wine. It also has some warm kind of balmy benzoin vanilla in here, so it's very cozy, it's very comforting. There's also some violet in here, so it's got lots of interesting, unusual notes to make up a very unique fragrance. This, I would say, is the perfect kind of autumn-winter scent. However, I am totally going to be wearing it all year round. I think it's like really versatile and it's not too heavy. Like, it is quite warming and it is quite sweet and appropriate for the winter, but it's not too heavy, you know, like I would be happy to wear this all year round, basically. So this one, it's kind of the smell, it almost reminds me, it's like somewhere between mulled wine and Christmas baking, because it has sort of things like nutmeg in here, so it's got light spices which give an almost festive feeling. It's just absolutely beautiful. So that, paired with the fact that it's quite sweet, it has vanilla, it's basically a really unusual kind of oriental vanilla type of fragrance with some fruitiness as well. Immediately this one comes off brighter. It's not as dark and mysterious as this one. So this one immediately has that dark, mysterious mood that it kind of has that, because it's still from the same range and it's still, you know, a very kind of alluring kind of fragrance, but it's not as dark and mysterious as this one. So if you imagine like a warm mug of mulled wine with some cloves in it, like with some spices kind of marinating in it, adding like a light spice. It's not overly spicy. That was something which I was really concerned about with this one, because this one was a blind buy for me. So I'd never tried this one before I bought it. I'd heard here and there that this had spicy aspects to it, which kind of was a bit worrying for me, but actually I don't think it's that spicy at all. Like, it's definitely, in fact I wouldn't even use the word spicy, I would say it's more just kind of, it has spices in the sense of like warming spices that you would get in mulled wine, not like hot spices, if that makes sense. Like, not spices in the sense of chili, it's more spices in the sense of, if you think of a soft, sweet kind of cinnamon or a nutmeg or cloves, like those kind of spices, if you know what I mean. It's so stunning, particularly those spices kind of intermingle with the benzoin vanilla in here. There's kind of fruitiness in this as well. There's red berries, maybe some other kind of fruits. So this one is still kind of fruity, but in a different way. This is more like a dark, rich, like boozy, fruity liqueur. And this one is more like berries, fruity in a mulled wine kind of way. Sticky, kind of balmy benzoin vanilla. It's kind of a little touch of a balsamic kind of fragrance. So it's sweet with a balsamic kind of edge. This one, it just kind of reminds me of a Christmas market. So it reminds me of baking smells, maybe Christmas cookies, mulled wine, light sweet kind of spices, all of those kind of things, just kind of Christmassy sort of things. This is what that reminds me of. So the Allofoli to me gives a more light-hearted feeling, it's more versatile I think, and to me it's a really easy reach. Like, I reach for this one pretty much for any occasion, just if I feel like wearing it, whereas the La Nuit Trésor, I personally feel like this is more limited to the occasion that I would want to wear it to. It's more, this packs more of a punch, and it's definitely more of like a kind of making a statement kind of fragrance, if you know what I mean. This one is definitely more of like, if you wanted to make an impact, like you were wearing it as a strong like accessory to a killer outfit when you're going out in the evenings. This one here, as I say, much more light-hearted, kind of more easygoing. It's still sweet and it's still rich. This one isn't as deep. This one isn't as like deep and dark as this. It's just so, so beautiful. I just love it so much. I think the combination of notes in here are just exquisite. It's just kind of addictive almost, like it's so comforting and it's so cozy and beautiful. Something important which I'll actually mention as well, like a main difference between these two, is if you are the kind of person who gets headaches kind of easily from fragrances, like if you really cannot stand fragrances which are super strong and headache inducing, I would be very, very cautious of the original La Nuit Trésor. So I would just be very, very wary, because this one is just so strong. Like it's almost in the same league as like original Alien Eau de Parfum. Like that's how strong this original one is to me. And because of how strong it is, how syrupy it is, and how boozy it is, I think definitely this could be maybe headache inducing for some, particularly if it's worn on like a warm day. I think I would personally find this one too much on a warm day. I could only really wear this one on a cold night, really, or a cold like winter day, that type of thing. This one here is less likely to offend. It is less likely to give you a headache, I think, because it's just not as like intense. So as you would probably expect, the lasting power of this one is amazing. However, so is this. So although this one isn't as intense and it's not as strong and it's not as like crazy strong as this one, the Allofoli still lasts really, really well. It's a perfectly long-lasting fragrance. I can smell it on myself like all day. It's really perfect in terms of the lasting power, the projection, everything like that, but it's just a softer scent. This does not have as much attitude as the original La Nuit Trésor, but it's still a beautiful, it's just more understated, I would say. This is still a really unique and kind of impactful fragrance. Like, it's still unique and beautiful and feminine and flirty and everything like that, but it's more understated than this one here. This one is more obnoxious. If you love loud fragrances, like if you just love loud fragrances that everyone can smell you and they're just so unique and beautiful and feminine and like just extremely strong and loud, then I think you would adore the original La Nuit Trésor. I think you would. So if you already like, you know, your alien, your really strong fragrances, if those are the type of fragrances that you already like, then I would definitely give this one a try. But if you like more subtle fragrances, just more understated, a bit more reserved, that type of thing, then I would give this one a try. And the thing is, it's still from the La Nuit Trésor range, so it's still beautiful. It's beautiful and it's kind of mysterious and alluring and everything like that, but it is just not as loud and crazy as the original. One thing as well I would just say about the Allofoli is it's kind of a safer bet. Oh, sorry, hair in my mouth. I would say actually on the whole, the La Nuit Trésor Allofoli is probably more mass appealing. It's sort of almost a fragrance that I would group together with, say, like Poison Girl and maybe even Black Opium. Like, it doesn't smell super similar to those fragrances. It doesn't smell like them at all actually, but just with the type of scent it is and the way that those two are very likeable, this is likeable in that same sort of way. Like, there's nothing about this that you would smell and go, oh my goodness, like, what is that? The way that I did when I first tried the original La Nuit Trésor. That one, it's a bit crazier. Like, they've taken more of a risk with the La Nuit Trésor original, I think. This one is just a safer bet overall, which makes it softer, more versatile, more likeable in my opinion, and yeah, just kind of a safer fragrance really overall. It really reminds me of a wine. Like, I mean, it's probably partly because of the colour of the bottle that I'm thinking of this, but actually the smell itself is making me think of like a rich, beautiful, sophisticated red wine with some lightly spiced fruits and like a sticky, dripping, beautiful, warm benzoin vanilla as well. It's just, I can't really imagine how you could not like this. I mean, I think it's a very likeable fragrance, this one here, whereas this one, just because it's a bit more unusual, there's like so much going on in here, and it's quite in your face. Like, I can see how this maybe wouldn't be for everybody. But as I say, yeah, they're both stunning. They're both quite sweet. However, I would say the original one is sweeter. So this one has more of like a sweet syrupy, it has like so many fruits in here. And the one that's sticking in my mind right now actually is the fact that it has like passion fruit and strawberry in here with the caramel. So if you think about the fact that it has all of these fruits in it plus caramel and everything like that, like, it's going to be quite sweet. The sweetness is slightly offset by the fact that it has very kind of dark, almost slightly smoky, intense base notes, like the coffee beans, the incense. There's papyrus in here as well, I think, so kind of unusual notes. Honestly, I don't know what papyrus is meant to smell like, but I think all of those other interesting notes offset the sweetness, but it still is overall a very intense, concentrated, thick, sweet fragrance. This one isn't quite as intensely sweet. It's more sophisticated, I would say. This is more what I would associate with a party, like party drinks, cocktails, fun, loud nights out, that kind of thing, and very flirtatious. This one is just more reserved, classy. I would say this smells classy. But this one, you guys, it's just overall a very beautiful, this has such a nice level of sweetness in it, by the way. This one is not too sweet, but it still has a beautiful level of sweetness. It's basically a warming, flirty, girly, womanly, kind of warm mulled wine, baked cookie kind of smell, essentially. And it's just absolutely wonderful, I would say. And then this one smells to me like you've got a tropical fruity cocktail with some incense and like dark rich notes as well. So they're both absolutely stunning. I guess if I had to say what my favourite was, it would definitely be Allofoli. I love both of them. Like, I'm so glad I have this in my collection because it's such a nice one to have. I think there's always going to be that scenario when you really want your fragrance to project and you want other people to be able to smell you, and in those kind of situations I love having this in my collection, but purely from the fact that this one is just classier and it's more understated and it's more versatile as well. I wear this more often, so I would miss this from my collection more than I would miss like the other one, just because I don't reach for this one a whole lot. I reach for this one quite often, whether I'm going to work, whether I'm going out, whether I'm just staying in all day, like it doesn't really matter. This fragrance suits every single occasion in my opinion anyway. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments what your favourite is between these two, if you've tried both or if you've tried one and you're curious about the other one. I'm actually really happy to own both. Because they're quite different, I do think that there's a place for both in your collection because they would suit like really different moods and different occasions and things like that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. I make new perfume videos every single week, and I'd love to have you here. So until next time guys, take care. Bye!